Freed starts out with Anastasia and Christian's wedding.
It's very strange saying boys to someone when it's not real and to keep you safe. All that is mine. When we were rehearsing it, we were sort of giggling quite a lot because it just seemed so silly. But then, obviously, by the time the cameras are rolling, then we're in character and it was fine.
Okay, let's go back to one with the camera, please.
The wedding was so much fun to shoot, and I've never been a bridesmaid before, so it's my first time being a bridesmaid in real life or on screen. And I know it's all a movie, but it was special. You know, we're all so fond of each other, I have to say.
It's beautiful, man. There was some tears, not from me, but you know, I'm not gonna name any names. Elliot, What was beautiful about it is that literally everyone from the cast was there. Anna's mom, Anna's dad, Chris's mom, Chris's dad, like everyone was there. And so we got to just all like have a ball and dance during the wedding scene, and that was cool.
It wasn't some big ostentatious, grandiose, over-the-top wedding.
We wanted that mix of something a little bit intimate, but certainly luxurious, no expense spared. And I think we found a good balance, that it was believable that this is what they would do.
One of the interesting challenges on doing these two movies has been maintaining a level of secrecy. You want there to be some excitement leading up to the films, and you want to at least have some things that people are not aware of, that haven't shown up in the trailer, that haven't shown up in paparazzi photographs, and that are totally like surprises. One of the reasons I'm on set at the moment is to get this side established and to get all the presents and the cake that you're gonna see right here, and this whole area all the way to the front of the wedding looking perfect for the viewer about to see in the camera. Things like a wedding dress or what the wedding itself looks like, I think have a great anticipation among fans. So with weather considerations and with that secrecy factor, we needed to make sure that we had a venue that we could maintain the secrecy and yet it could look incredibly beautiful. It needed to be some sort of evocative space, something that connected to the Pacific Northwest and had a feel that would be incredibly, incredibly special. So viewers will get to see 180 light fixtures that were handmade in India with beautiful crystals in them. So it looks like they're getting married in the middle of a jewel setting. And there's an enormous wall of flowers behind them on the stage, and there's trees of wisteria in the middle of tables, and it's just crazy dripping with romance.
The entire room was done in silks, and we custom designed lanterns that you see, and the flowers were all custom spray painted. We had to bring in the wisteria trees from a manufacturer in India, so it was an elaborate process. Probably took about 3 months to get everything ordered and shipped over from overseas.
One of the things, say, the costume designer had to do besides the regular dressing of everybody was to design Anna's wedding dress, and that was a really big to-do with a lot of outside fashion designers wanting to design the dress themselves.
I had notes from Erica right in the beginning of what mattered to her, which were the tiny buttons down the back of the dress. I knew that I wanted an old-fashioned but fresh approach, and also sensual quality, and also something extremely sweet without being cloying. I worked in collaboration with an amazing wedding bridal gown designer, Monique Loulier. And I went and met with her in Los Angeles and really talked to her about the character of Anna. I then sent her my research folder, and Monique Loulier took it from there. She sent me some sketches and swatches of fabrics, and we had a dialogue. And at that point, I shared them with Dakota, got her feedback on the whole thing.
The wedding dress was just so stunning, and it was really bizarre to see myself in a wedding dress.
It was almost an emotional moment where we tried it on the night before the wedding for the first time with Dakota to check fit it. It was perfect.
It's amazing. It was lovely, very emotional.
It was a gorgeous wedding. Of course, we paid for the whole thing.
You own this?
We own this.
We see Christian and Anna as blissful as we ever really see them.
They go on a honeymoon in the south of France.
Everything just looks like it's going along really well.
Today we're shooting in the little ancient village of Roquebrune, which is high above Monte Carlo. And it's a bit of a honeymoon sequence that we get to shoot in the south of France. Christian Grey takes his new bride and hits all the beautiful sights of the French Riviera.
And cut! Great! Excellent.
I think the A camera's already up there, so I don't need to get the A cam up to get the next shot. We're just here shooting some almost like travel footage of Anastasia and Christian's honeymoon.
So in your sort of number two-ish position, let's just tighten up. Make it about them in shadows walking.
There's not an uninteresting angle in this whole hell. It's just absolutely charming.
Background and action.
Hold on.
That was awesome.
Anytime you're trying to get specialty boats and to get them to a particular part of the world in a limited window and for weather, it's a bit of a challenge. The European portion of this film is filming right during the Bastille Day holidays and when a lot of Europe is on vacation. So trying to access locations and ships and get them where you want them to be and the beaches where you want them to be in that limited window of time has proved challenging, and yet we wanted them to be fantastic spaces.
Want to be out this side?
You know, we went through about 3 or 4 different yachts until we found one that lived up to the expectations of what was in the novel and was perfect for us for filming.
We have arranged a boat that was originally built in 1937 as the honeymoon yacht. It is 60 meters long or 160 feet, and it is classic French deco. It is so incredibly beautiful and romantic.
The honeymoon boat will be filled with French books, and it's got sort of a deco texture. It's very sexy.
I love France, and to be there and be filming a movie was really awesome.
This has been like the icing of the cake to get to be on the Mediterranean and see these amazing old villages and these beautiful beaches and just the wonderful welcome we've had from the communities and our local crew.
Step back, probably over or 2 shots.
Okay. Ready? 35 Bravo, take action. Camera.
Christian is a 28-year-old billionaire in contemporary times living on the West Coast. We really wanted to have a sense of place. Where do these characters live in their heart? Christian has a very open opinion about sex and sexuality. So his entire penthouse is comprised of objects and artwork that speaks to him on a sensual level.
We have some astounding pieces of art, really hip, cutting edge, deep thinking art for the penthouse. It's really exciting. One of the high walls in the penthouse has hand-sewn paper louvers that just create this amazing texture. You want to run your hands over it. The colors are richer, the textures are such that you want to touch, you want to feel, and that kind of adds to that sensuality.
36, take 2. Hey, Mark.
We should discuss how you'd like to run the household.
You see, as Anna's moved in, things are changing.
Run the household.
Dinner menus, the wine list, the flowers. What changes you'd like to make to the decor?
His home is their home, but I think that it's less finding her position as Mrs. Grey, but more about them figuring out how to coexist and how to respect each other in a sort of power dynamic, because they're both quite stubborn people.
Perfect timing.
Where's Gail?
I gave her the night off. Sit.
We leave off on darker in a happy place. There's a proposal, there's an acceptance of a proposal, and then we start Freed where they have to face up to the realities of what it is like to be married and how, when you marry someone so quickly, things don't always go according to plan.
I could get used to this.
Well, we're kind of married, so you might have to.
I mean, you in my kitchen.
You mean barefoot and pregnant?
As someone who's been married for a very long time, you do sort of knock the corners off each other, as it were. Christian and Anna are beginning to do that in Freed.
I was only joking. I'm guessing it wasn't the barefoot part of that made you nearly choke on your food? You do want to have kids someday, right?
It's a whole new journey for our characters.
Someday, sure.
They have to still keep working at it, and how the work becomes more intense, and how it carries far more weight because they're man and wife. And I found that trying to explore their journey within that marriage was a big challenge.
Do you not want to have kids?
Of course. One day, just not right now.
Because, of course, 50 Shades Stories defies so many of the conventions that people expect. You know, the happy, easy, you know, everything's tied up in a little knot at the end. Life's not that simple.
I'm not ready to share you yet with anyone.
Nice, Scott. Very good. Let's do one more last time for luck. One of the things that happens early on in the movie when they first return from the honeymoon is that Anna is eager to go restart her job and finds out that she's actually been promoted in absentia and has an even better job that is a reflection of her success and darker. And it's something that she is kind of figuring out for herself.
The transition for Anna working at SIP started for us as a young woman on her first job. Much more little skirt, little top, little raincoat, not feeling very executive in her position. As she gets promoted, startlingly quickly.
Am I expected to call you Miss Steele?
I expect you to call me Anna.
We start dressing her like a woman who feels more executive. And by the time we come into Freed, when she's actually the owner of the company, we went for a much more high-level look of a beautiful black suit, very beautiful, simple, authoritative clothing.
Anna! Hi! Welcome back.
I still had to bear in mind that she was a very young woman, so I had to walk a fine line of a beautiful suit like the head of the company, but a suit that's appropriate for a woman in her mid-20s.
How do you like the new digs?
Amazing.
I'm gonna let you get settled in. And Anna, good luck. Not that you need it.
As Anna takes over Jack Hyde's space, it gets totally redecorated in a style that is younger and more feminine and a lot more tailored because that is who she is becoming.
Her job is really the way she gets to express her own growth and her own independent functioning. And it was important that she not be just an appendage of this powerful guy.
She's not restricted by preconceived ideas of what you should or shouldn't do in the publishing business, and that's the link to what's helped change the tone in the room.
Probably the most visible change is the order that comes to all the office. And there are several different local publishing houses in Seattle that served as an inspiration in how they had rough-hewn Douglas fir bookshelves and old metal strapping and things that felt very industrial and not slick and high-end.
I think the really important key here is that Anna cleans house in her office. And the reason she does that is she needs to purge the office of the memories. I approached that in a way that we lightened the room. I put in pale silver gray sofas and I put a beautiful pale concrete desk in there, filled it with light, opened the windows, put fresh flowers in every day, put a sense of humor into it. There was a lot of like aquas and blues and beautiful pinks and lavenders. It became a feminine office and it was a total contrast. You could see that Anna had ideas and she was going to make this happen.
Freed opens with a mysterious businessman visiting the offices of Grey Enterprises. We realize very quickly that it's Jack Hyde up to no good. He hates Anna, he hates Christian, he hates the whole Grey family. He resents them. He's this fury of resentment and loss and betrayal.
There's much more of a thriller aspect to Freed in that Jack Hyde is really hell-bent on vengeance.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt your honeymoon. We had a fire this morning in the main server room.
And what's interesting is that as Jack Hyde threatens them and makes their life miserable and terrorizes them, we're trying to get to the root of why.
You maybe misunderstood when you wrote how mean you think I am.
I think there's
misunderstood.
No, you're just evil. He's just evil.
Jack Hyde wants what Christian Grey has. If he can't have it, he is going to destroy it. It really is about power for him. You know, somebody who felt very powerless, he exerts whatever power he can over anybody and manipulates them in whatever way he can. One of the trappings of playing a villain is forgetting that they're human.
Mark?
The challenge is to find the humanity in somebody that is doing and saying things that you don't morally agree with. And I find that to be a wonderful challenge.
If you want to see your sister-in-law again, I need $5 million in cash by 1 p.m.
Hyde was a great, fun character to dress because he's a man that you start out by thinking, wow, he's very attractive. He could almost be Christian's competitor here. And then you realize what an awful, dangerous man he is. So we dressed him in a way that's very styled up. And you think, oh, kind of cool. But we gradually, with each change, we're adding things that are a little not quite great.
Here you go, sir.
There was several scenes that we shot in the movie where it was crucial that we didn't see my face. And I tried to not take it personally. But, you know, it seemed like every time I'd show up to work, it's like, hey, well, Eric, pull your hat down because we can't see your face. Or Eric, put on this mask.
Clock's ticking, Anna. You're gonna need some bags. $5 million in cash takes up a lot of space.
He's the wolf in sheep's clothing. At the center of him is a tortured person who's going to unleash some hell on people.
And you're gonna be a good girl.
When you're doing a movie with 106 days of filming and with more than 140 sets and locations, you have to try to combine your work in ways that you can accomplish it. And there's a private jet trip to Aspen that takes place in the film. Surprise! So we needed to accomplish Aspen. Fortunately, Vancouver is situated near one of the biggest ski resorts.
Whistler is a big ski resort north of Vancouver and quite beautiful and quite similar looking to Aspen. This is the trip that Anna bid on at the charity ball in Darker.
$24,000.
New blood, $24,000.
She decides to use her week in this ski resort.
We arrive on a holiday and we kind of are, you know, just getting comfortable, and I go shopping. We go hiking, which Mia isn't really a fan of. She just wants to go and shop.
Elliot, when is this forced march gonna end? I promised Anna we'd go shopping.
We found a particularly notable house that looked like it would be appropriate for Christian to own. And then we totally redecorated it so it felt like it was his taste.
I emptied the house as usual and used pieces that I thought would be much more in keeping with Gray's sensibility. So there's a lot of pale cream, ultra-modern sectional sofas in front of these big, gorgeous stone fireplaces and panorama views of the mountains. And there's furs on the end of the bed. Again, going back to that textile and texture of sensuality. And we have a really sexy bathtub that overlooks the mountain and candlelight and stuff like that.
Mia said you hardly ever come here.
There's never been someone I wanted to bring up here. I was waiting for you.
I do have to say, the scenes are so beautiful. We got a beautiful snow on the mountains, and it's a really great sequence.
Get in. We were there for about 3 or 4 days, and it was just fantastic. It was a beautiful, beautiful part of the world.
Just there. It's heartbeat.
It's just a little blip.
I'd say it's 6, 7 weeks.
Mrs. Gray is pregnant.
Leave him alone.
Here we go. Ready and action.
Just to add to the drama of their relationship and the challenges that it has is the unexpected pregnancy when Anna discovers she's pregnant sort of by accident, and Christian does not have a good reaction to that. And that sets in motion the worst schism that they've had over the 3 movies.
I wrote the first 2 novels, but was actually one piece at the time. And people were clamoring, what happens next? And I remember being in Spain on holiday, which is the best time to think. And I just thought, what if she got pregnant? Oh, that's interesting, because I knew that Christian would absolutely, completely, and utterly flip out.
Anna, no one will believe him. And the other assistants, they'll tell the detectives he did the same. Christian's reaction to Anna being pregnant was not very positive.
This is why I need control.
It's probably the exact way that you do not want your partner to respond to the news that you're pregnant.
Christ, Anna, you had one job.
He felt that he was not in any way in a position to be a father, just in terms of where they are in their life and the kind of relationship he wants to have with her. The baby's just the last thing that he wants.
I have plans for us.
He's not interested in baby stuff.
I'm sorry.
Essentially just totally freaks, and it's the biggest challenge to their relationship in the movie at that point.
Do you really think I'm ready to be a father?
No. I don't. And I'm not ready to be a mother either, but we'll just figure it out.
I'm not ready to figure it out.
He gets very angry and he kind of disappears. He goes and he spends time with Elena Lincoln, who's the one person that Anastasia can't handle being in their lives. And then that's when you sort of see how tough she is. I will choose this baby over anybody because that is what decent parents do. And you see how much she means business. You need to grow the fuck up. She's kind of like a take it or leave it woman at that point and puts Christian in his place. You're not happy about this baby. I got that. I am not ecstatic either, given the timing and your reaction. But babies happen when you have sex, and you and I tend to do a lot of that.
She says, I'm going to look after this child because that's what your mother should have done for you. And it's absolutely what he needs to hear.
So we can either do this together, or I will do it without you. Christian starts out obviously with the power and all the control, and then it kind of ebbs and flows throughout the end, and then it's sort of Anna who ends up in his position with perhaps a bit more power.
She just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. She's always been strong. And I knew that when I was starting, when I wrote it, that she was far stronger than he was. And we get to see that in this movie.
Elena and I just talked. I was too angry with you.
I'm angry with you, Christian. You left me. You left me when I needed you. You fucked up.
Here we go. Ready, camera, and action.
Damn, it's good to hear your voice.
Jeff?
We never got a chance to talk last week. How the hell are you?
How are you calling me? You should be in...
What, in jail?
When Anna gets the phone call from Jack Hyde, the one delivering the ransom demand, and the camera spins around her like her world is spinning, it's such an exciting scene. Dakota's performance is stellar. The camera work's amazing, the location's great, and Foley grabbed that and we had the whole shot in like 3 takes.
As a revenge onto Christian and Anna, Jack Hyde kidnaps Mia, so Anna has to get out $5 million and bring it to Jack Hyde.
That's in less than 2 hours, Jack. That's completely impossible.
Out in this derelict part of town where he's holding Mia hostage. So there's a whole kind of climactic thriller chase where Anna is racing to get this money to save Mia's life.
I really had to get into my mental frame with that moment because I think it's the first time you see Mia way more kind of sensitive and not always kind of outspoken and joking about.
Ready, and action.
Sitting in the seat with kind of the gag and being taped to the chair, it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was. I loved it. I really loved it. I love acting and I loved the whole experience of it, and it definitely is another world.
The poor thing. I basically work with her and all I've done is, you know, torture and kidnap her, and it's a really great working relationship. But she was a trooper, she was great, and it was a lot of fun.
He has this intensity in his eyes, and he definitely plays the villain really well.
You know, she actually bit me. Yeah, actually, I'm kind of turned on right now.
He always kind of complains that he's always in scenes by himself. In the car on the way from set, he was like, I don't know why, I'm just always kind of on set alone. I was like, I wasn't alone with you. This time we did it together.
Yes, there is an intensity there, and it ended up with a final showdown between Anna and Jack Hyde. She's come to rescue Mia, she's got the money, but I don't care about the money. And I start to lay a beating on her and kick her.
Enough!
It's a tense moment, and that was fun to write and it was fun to shoot as well.
Once he realizes that Anna would and will and has done whatever it takes to keep his family and him safe, it kind of throws into perspective what this woman is willing to do for him. He realizes that he would do the same.
Yeah, I want to have this baby with you. I was just scared.
It really intensifies whatever feelings he's had and kind of shocks him back to reality. It makes him much more emotionally open. So that very end, when we see him with the child a year later, he looks very comfortable as a father, and you'd never have thought that when we first met him in Grey, that he'd ever be happy as a father.
Why can't we sleep in the same bed? Why won't you let me touch you? Why does it have to be like this? You're a sadist?
I'm a dominant.
What does that mean?
I get off on punishing women who look like you.
Like your mother.
I would say the trilogy is about what happens when you don't receive unconditional love and when you come to accept unconditional love.
It's about being free, being freed of their psychological, emotional road bumps.
For me personally, I see it from Christian's point of view in terms of the love that Anna's had for him, and the truthfulness of their relationship has freed him from everything that we see of his broken self, and learning to free yourself up and accept who you are and the things you've done wrong, and to adapt and change and be a better person by the end of it. Good morning, wife.
Good morning, husband. I think it refers to both of them. I think it refers to Christian perhaps letting go of the trauma and pain that he's harbored his whole life.
And she does love you, Christian. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
And I think it's also Anna allowing herself to have the desires and curiosities that she does.
So you want to play?
Yes, sir.
You, Mark?
You're gonna marry me so many times today.
She's going full speed. Can we keep up?
Ready and play back.
Wow.
We'd like to bring in the cast, please.
Right this way.
She comes from a very solid and protected background, and he comes from the complete opposite. But they meet in the middle and they find themselves within each other.
Marry me.
What?
I want you to marry me.
And the reason why I loved it was that these people are imperfect and they still love each other more than anything and will do anything for each other. And that, I think, is a fairy tale. That's romantic to me.
Anastasia, I solemnly vow to love you faithfully, forsaking all others.
Well, I think for Christian, Anna just takes him on this journey of like self-discovery, you know, from the moment they meet. I think he's hard to like in the first movie. And we see such a momentous shift in Christian from when we first meet him. Maybe, and that's all down to genuine love that he has for Anna and Anna has for him.
The psychological arc of both of these people from the beginning to the end of the trilogy is what drew me to the project in the first place.
So Christian definitely becomes a better version of himself, but he still has this thing where he's battling with control and having still far too much influence over Anna's work when she's actually her own woman and doing her own thing.
You know I can't go to New York. I have to work.
Take it with you.
I have meetings.
Reschedule.
I have to show up. You can't keep me in a cage. I think that there's a possessiveness that comes with the two of them. I don't think it's a matter of a lack of trust. It's more so that they love each other in such an aggressive way that it becomes possession.
Mrs. Gray, let's get out of here. I'm sick of sharing you with the riffraff.
And it's not to anyone's fault, because it's not a bad thing. They just don't want anyone else to be a part of it, which I think is kind of romantic.
And it's a huge change for Anna. I mean, she's come from a very humble background, and to be incredibly wealthy, surrounded by all the trappings of wealth, that's a huge shift for her.
But if she could get rid of all the material stuff, that's not something she cares about, it's just him.
And they both have to adapt to each other. And most stories end with the happy ever after and a ring on a finger and a wedding veil. But actually, you know, real life moves on after that, and people have to learn to live with each other and try and meet each other's needs. And we get to see that in this movie.
I love you.
Now, if you could only cook, you'd be perfect.
Oh, God. Okay.
I think that perhaps the reason why they may have originally fallen for each other in the first place is that Anna might possess some of the same sexual preferences that Christian does. What's this?
Let's learn to walk before we run.
I kind of like running. And I think that she grows quite fond of the Red Room. Take me to the Red Room. And that's kind of the whole reason why I thought it was an interesting journey of a character from start to finish, from film 1 to film 3.
So you want to play?
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of sex in the movie, there's a lot of sex in the trilogy, and the challenge to make something fresh and sexy and different for them is always there.
I think on the sexy scale, we've just ramped it up slightly. We've had a lot of fun with this one, and bless Jamie and Dakota for going through with it.
You rarely find a young woman explore a relationship with a man whilst becoming herself and figuring out what it is she wants to do with her life, with her career, and then also in a sexual way, and being brave and honest and adventurous. And I think that in Freed, it's a kind of a beautiful, uninhibited, equal sexual relationship.
Those are never easy, those scenes. There's loads of men and women standing around the room. Some of them you know fairly well, some of them you don't really know. And you're not really wearing clothes. Whatever way you spin it, that is a very vulnerable situation. And it's not an easy situation for either of us to be in, really, but particularly Dakota. I mean, Dakota and I have the most insane level of trust for each other. And without trust, I mean, we couldn't have done these movies, really, but particularly those scenes in the Red Room scenes and stuff, I mean, we had to trust each other implicitly to get through those days, you know.
They're both, I mean, they work very, very well together, and they're both protective of each other, and it's really been interesting to watch how they've got close, and the chemistry's just off the scale. There's something very special about what they have, and it really comes to that you really see it on screen.
If we didn't get along, it would have been so heartbreaking, because the reason why we have a special relationship on screen is because we have an even more special relationship off. If we couldn't laugh at each other and make fun of each other and trust each other and goof around all the time, then it wouldn't have been what it is. You're just gonna stand there gawking?
Yeah.
Hello, Erica. You look very Parisian. Look behind you. You can actually see it.
Can we see it?
Can we see it?
Where is it?
No, wait,
Where is
no,
it?
no, no.
Oh, look at that. I got a heart around us, too.
This romantic city, a romantic setting, and the climax to this 50 Shades trilogy.
I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
It's been an experience, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Are you excited for the premiere tonight?
I'm so excited for the premiere. Are you excited?
I am excited. It's like a nice bookend.
Absolutely.
The last time we were here, we were shooting.
We were shooting the honeymoon. And you know who that's interrupted by?
Who?
The
Oh,
bad
me.
guy. The bad guy.
Oh my God, that's Jack.
You wanna know what's really funny about that? Is
Yeah.
when I first came to Vancouver to shoot both movies, and then it was revealed on the schedule that I was going to Paris
Yes, I remember that.
to do one shot.
Yes.
And I looked at that and I said, that is never happening. That's never happening. I'm never going to Paris. I'll be standing in front of a green screen in North Vancouver in the rain. I'm never going to Paris in July. It's not happening. And then it came time, and I'm going to Paris, and I was shocked. I was shocked and amazed that I actually got to be
Yeah, no, it was good, and that scene really works. Do you remember when you heard you got the part? What happened?
I was standing in the driveway of a friend's house, and I got a call, and you know something's up when it's your agent and your manager on the phone at the same time. And they said, you're doing 50 Shades. I'm like, I am? And it was less than 48 hours later, I was sitting in James Foley's office after madly reading the scripts with my hot take on the character, trying not to panic and sound like I knew what I talked about.
Oh, God.
But I met you that day, too.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. It was a whirlwind, and it was pretty exciting. And then instantly, as soon as it was announced, I had 5 times the amount of Instagram followers. What was interesting is that to start off shooting, I was in quite a bit.
Good morning, Mr. Hyde.
Anna, please, it's Jack.
I was nice for a scene and a half before I went all creepy boss. But I had a great time with Dakota. That was super fun. And like to be able to keep it light in between scenes, I think was helpful. What?
Did you get my message?
It was funny, I said to Foley at the beginning, let's have a blast. And he said, yeah, let's.
It was fun. I mean, those scenes with Dakota were pretty uncomfortable because it's it's like abusive and...
Why do you like playing bad guys?
I don't.
What is this about you?
I think, well, you can answer that. You hire me, you look at my headshot and go,
Yeah,
that
bad
guy
guy.
looks like an a-hole.
Yeah, he looks like
Look at that. Look at that jerk face.
it's interesting because you are actually lovely and funny.
Thank you. Let's just pretend right now.
Working with Jamie Dornan,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing you did was the I'm the Boss scene in Darker. How was that for you?
I knew how big that scene was to the fans because as soon as I was cast, there was Photoshop mocked up versions of that scene playing out being sent to my Twitter account.
I'm the boyfriend.
I'm the boss. Oh, this is awesome. I'm looking forward to this. And then also just trying to sell it in a way that doesn't come across as too cheesy.
Yeah.
But it was exciting, it was fun.
I was really chuffed when you said Chris.
What do you have, Chris? Nobody calls him Chris.
Nobody calls him Chris.
How
That
you
was
doing,
really
Chris?
cringy.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
It's like the cringier the better,
Yeah,
really.
no, that was brilliant.
It's
Brilliantly
like,
done.
it just makes him such a douchebag. It really, it was like in full display in that
With his
moment.
tie.
With that horrible tie.
Yes.
Another time. So not only are you the writer of these amazing series of books, but you're also producer on the movies and very heavily involved. And from everybody that I talked to in my experience, we were so grateful to have you there and your knowledge, not only just of, obviously because it is the world you created, but also knowing what parts were so important to the fan base. Was it a challenge for you to try and balance what you felt needed to be in the movie and cutting things for time? And
Yeah, it was. And actually, it was interesting because I learned so much about what really mattered and what didn't, and things that I thought really mattered and ended up not really mattering at all. I think it's very interesting when you got such a group of talented people who are interpreting, you know, something, and they're coming up with their own ideas, and it's good to stand back and let them do that. But it's great.
was it ever a little surreal of, you know, here's this world that, you know, started on your computer and then
very
into
surreal.
a book, and then you're on a set.
Yes, and now we're going to be at a premiere.
Yeah.
The last one. It's incredibly surreal. I haven't really got used to it, even after all this time.
Do you think you ever will?
No. No, not at all.
That's a picture wrap of 50 Shades trilogy.
I was at a party and there was a person there and she worked in an adult store. And I asked her, I said, so, I mean, what has 50 Shades done for sales in your store? I'm like, who knew? Who knew that this would, and she goes, we knew. We knew all along. Just nobody else was talking about it. So it has been this great conversation starter of people being able to
No,
not,
absolutely,
you know.
and I think it's all about communication. I think if you can talk about these things.
But isn't that also the sort of the theme of the books too? This is
Absolutely.
about finding a way to communicate. You know, you have the
Absolutely.
lust and the love, but then they have to find a way to make it work.
Absolutely.
And it's through
And that's-
communication and trust.
Completely. And for me, Freed is where, you know, the happily ever after doesn't happen with a wedding. It's sort of what goes on from there. And so that was interesting to explore.
I bought it for us as a home. If you don't like it, we can always.
I love it.
You do?
Now that, you know, they're married,
Yeah.
what does 50 Shades look like when they're 50? Is there a happily ever after? Is there a midlife crisis and soccer moms?
I have an idea for the fourth book, but I can't tell you anything
No.
about that without really spoiling it. so if I ever do it, yeah, I've got the first line.
But are they happy? Are they happy for a while at least?
They'll be happy for a while.
They'll be happy for a while. Nobody can stay happy for long in the
Absolutely.
movies.
No.
It's not interesting if
It's
people
not
are
interesting.
happy.
No, who wants to see that?
That's why you need bad guys around.
Yeah, completely.
Can't be happy.
You need bad guys, you need issues, you need all sorts of
Exactly.
things. 'Cause
Exactly.
otherwise it's a bit yawny. Isn't it?
Look at his foster family.
That's Hyde. That's me.
That must have been what he meant when he said that you owe him a life. Because your parents adopted you and not him.
I think Jack Hyde is rotting away in a prison feeling really sad for himself.
I think he might
Yeah.
break free.
You think so?
Oh, definitely.
You think he's clever enough?
He's clever enough.
He's just clever enough.
He's just clever enough to get out
Yeah.
and wreak more havoc.
Wreaking havoc.
Yes.
That's what he does.
That's what he does.
That's
He's
what Jack
very
Hyde does.
Good at it.
I'm a really nice guy. I misunderstood. You maybe misunderstood when you wrote how mean you think I am.
I think there's
misunderstood.
No. You're just evil. He's just evil.
No. Well, I have to say, I can't thank you enough for bringing me into this family. It's been such an incredible experience, and every step of the way was so rewarding and so fulfilling. I just kind of kept pinching myself. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, I want to thank you back and say thank you for being such a fantastic villain who isn't really a villain at all, but a great guy to work with.
Thank you.
I think we had a lot of fun.
We did.
We did.
I should misbehave more often.
Maybe you should.
What? You gave me hickeys?
Yo, we got topless again.
How could you do that to me?
Hey. I apologize. Come here.
Don't play with my hair like that. I can't stay mad at you.
Sorry to interrupt. Miss Bailey would like to speak with you. It's urgent.
Hey, Roz, what's up?
I'm sorry to interrupt your honeymoon. We had a fire in the main server room this morning.